have to agree with what Mummy said about, 9:03 in the morning and everybody should be doing this and this and this. I don't see a problem with anything he said about that range of commentary. I mean, it's absolutely true, because if you're in a situation that we've been talking about, then you're confident in, number one, who you are, number two, what you believe, number three, it's not your job to pitch anybody and sell it. So why in the hell are you here talking about it? Right? Because, and there's other, and what he was
Well,
saying
why
is,
you here?
All right, so hold on, everybody pause. Everybody pause. I've heard a lot, but I've also heard enough. Okay, we're going to reset the space entirely because we have now my greatest associate, greatest friend on the app. Nicole has finally blessed us with her presence. So what I'm going to do, Nicole, you're not late this morning because I started this room at 7:30, so your pay will not be docked. In fact, you might get a raise today because you're going to probably stick with me through all this trouble. Although this room may inevitably cause me to get banned from Clubhouse, we're going to start the show, and we're going to start it from the very beginning because now this is our normal start time of 9 o'clock on the button, if you will. It's 9:11 in the morning, Eastern Standard Time. So we're going to act as if the show has not already begun, but here we go.
Welcome to Austin Off Script with Dr. Julio, the best fake doctor on the app. No cap. Sit back and get ready to laugh, cry, sip, and sigh. This is Austin Off Script, the best podcast in the world.
Wouldn't necessarily call it the best podcast in the world, but I would definitely say it is the most authentic. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to those of you that'll be watching this on YouTube. You have now entered the church off script, if you will. No, you've entered the house of Austin off script, and I am your host, Dr. Julio. And remember, it's just a nickname, folks. Relax. Name's Austin Julio Broughton, and you are now listening to a very hot discussion about a very serious topic. Topic is the LGBTQ community versus Christian business owners. Right now, there's a Supreme Court case that was heard Monday. The Supreme Court case, and I'm going to read this directly from NPR to kind of give you guys and catch us all up to speed about what it is that we're discussing, what it is that we're talking about. Supreme Court hears a clash, and I'm reading from NPR. Article was published December 5th, 2022, at 5 a.m. Supreme Court hears clash between LGBTQ and business owners' rights. And the article was published published again, 5 a.m. by Nina Totenberg. And it reads like this. The U.S. Supreme Court hears arguments Monday in a potential landmark case that pits two cherished constitutional principles against each other. On one side are laws that guarantee same-sex couples equal access to all businesses that offer their services to the public. On the other are business owners who see themselves as artists and don't want to use their talents to express a message they don't believe in. For nearly a decade, the justices have dodged and weaved on this clash of legal values, that is, declining to hear some cases and punting on one involving a baker who refused to make custom wedding cakes for same-sex couples. But now the issue is back before a far more conservative court, a court that reached out to hear Monday's case even before any same-sex couples complained that they were the victims of illegal discrimination. The plaintiff in this case, instead, is business owner Lori Smith, a Colorado web designer who for the past decade has created all kinds of custom websites for clients. The pieces I create are art. They're one of a kind. They're unique, quote, unquote. She said in an interview with NPR, she stated, quote, I cannot create something that violates the core of what I believe, unquote. Smith says that because of Colorado's public accommodations law, she cannot do what she wants to do most, custom web designs for weddings. The reason is that she believes that marriage should only be between a man and a woman. She said, quote, I want to create and design for weddings that are consistent with my faith. She says, adding that she, quote, cannot do that because Colorado is, quote, censoring and compelling her speech by forcing her to create custom websites that would contradict her view of marriage. So even though she hasn't actually launched a website as of yet, she is actually preemptively, and wisely I might add, but the article only says she is preemptively challenging Colorado's public accommodations law as a violation of her First Amendment rights to free speech and expression. Now, the state's view on this. Colorado attorneys Colorado's Attorney General, Philip Weiser, says that the state law is not seeking to dictate what Smith says in her web designs. He contends that Colorado allows any individual or business to create whatever they want. But, quote, if you open your doors and say you are serving the public, you have to serve everyone, regardless of sexual orientation, religion, race, or gender. The state does not care about Smith's message, he adds. Rather, quote, the question is more one of conduct. Will you sell the product or service to whoever from the public knocks on your door? Web designer Smith notes that she has created websites for gay and lesbian clients selling other products and services that have nothing to do with marriage, but that she herself believes that marriage is between a man and a woman, which, by the way, I will add, is the biblical definition of marriage. Hello? Moreover, she says that she refused to use her talents for those who want to convey all kinds of other messages that she disagrees with as well. She says, quote, I have declined political messages that promote atheism, messages that are anti-American, messages that are racist, messages that denigrate or meaning attack LGBTQ people or other people. If I don't believe in the message a prospective client wants, she says, I have to say no. That just doesn't work as a legal rule, says University of Pennsylvania law professor Tobias Wolff, who filed a brief in the case siding with Colorado. Imagine if the website designer, the cake decorator, the wedding photographer were to show up at the wedding and then proceed to say to the people getting married, I don't like this part of your vows, or these people can't be in your wedding party because I'm the speaker here. We would think they were nuts, right? Nuts, he says, because these wedding vendors are not street corner speakers standing on a soapbox proclaiming their own message. Instead, they have set up a business to sell their talents in the commercial marketplace. And when you do that, you are placing those talents in service of your customers. Wolff says, and quote, that's just a very different situation and one that the First Amendment treats very differently. Now, where is the line? Quote, speakers don't lose their rights when they enter the public square and try to earn a living, counters Christian Wagner, who is the lawyer representing the plaintiff Smith in the Supreme Court. Wagner draws the constitutional line in a very different place. She says the line is the government doesn't have the power to compel an individual to speak. She argues it's simple and has stood the test of time and is protected by the First Amendment. The rationale is the same, she says, for a black sculptor who does not want to design for the Aryan Church, or the Democratic Party publicist who doesn't want to advance Donald Trump's agenda. But Professor Wolff replies that the compelled speech doctrine has never been applied in the commercial marketplace, where, quote, the only thing the government is doing is establishing a neutral set of rules that everybody has to play by. If that is no longer the case, he asks, what if a business owner were to say that he doesn't want to serve interracial couples because he views them as acting against God's law, that marriage should be between people of the same race, which is not God's law at all. It's absolutely nonsense. For as it is written, out of one blood God hath made all nations of men to dwell upon the face of the earth. So there you go. That's the book of Acts for you. The people that try to use the Bible to push nonsensical doctrine, there's a refutation of that very quickly. Wagner dismisses that argument, wisely, I will say, noting that when the Supreme Court declared marriage a right for same-sex couples in 2015, the court, as she put it, quote, explained very clearly that many decent and honorable people hold beliefs opposed to same-sex marriage. In contrast, she says, interracial marriage laws are grounded, and she's correct, in white supremacy, and they're designed to subjugate an entire class of people. Now the Supreme Court will decide just where state, local, and even the federal government may draw the line when it comes to same-sex couples and laws requiring businesses that are open to the public to serve everyone on an equal basis. Now, this was the original article that I read. There are 20 shares in here, only 105 people in the room. Please share the space. So now, let me give you the Broughton take on this. There was one more video and one more clip that I had played from TikTok. And one of the things that I had heard, and this really shocked the everlasting mess out of me because I actually quote tweeted this thing. There's been this very, very big ideology being pushed in our society today, talking about phobias, right? Talking about phobias and this and that and all the other bullshit. Let me explain something to everybody that's listening to the sound of my voice. To say, first of all, to define what phobia is, the word came around in the 1700s. It meant an irrational fear or aversion to something. There was a young woman on TikTok that made a statement. You know what? Made the statement basically that if you don't want to date a trans person, for example, you are phobic. And the majority of your preferences are actually rooted in some phobia. In fact, if you only want to date a biological woman for the purposes of having reproduction, for the purposes of having children, you are still transphobic in some sense, which to me is absolute nonsense, but I'm going to have this play for her. I'm redoing the opening monologue from the opening of the room itself before we went live on YouTube. That way people can be caught up and understand what it is I'm talking about. So I'm going to play this for you guys.
Oh no. The transphobia in my comment section needs to stop. Yesterday I posted a TikTok responding to this question. What are the red flags you look for in men? And one of them was if he wouldn't date a trans woman. Red flag. And my comment section? You get the idea. I can't put them all because there's too many. Let me break this down. Trans women are women. So if you're heterosexual and you're a man and you said you wouldn't date a trans woman because it's a preference, that's just transphobia, period. The majority of the time, our preferences are rooted in something problematic. It could be trauma, racism, transphobia, the list goes on. If you want to find out what your problematic preferences are, click the link in my bio and watch this video. I am now going to take you all through an example. This person asked why it's transphobic to not want to date a trans woman. Already starting off on the wrong foot by referring to cis women as regular women, then said something about trans women not being able to carry children. If that's your sole reason for dating someone, keep that same energy for all the women who are infertile.
Now, a couple things wrong with what this idiot said. One, she actually thought she was intelligent. Absolutely not. Where's the Kevin Samuels? Absolutely wrong. Absolutely wrong. She's not smart at all because, one, you misapplied the definition of phobia. You changed the definition. The original definition meant an irrational fear or aversion to. If I don't want to screw something I can't reproduce with. And Nicole, I said this. Nicole, you know how your little brother took this. I said this, Nicole. By the way, some of the notable people on our stage this morning that have joined our show, we have Robert Paisola, we have Michael Tinsley, we have Nicole Michelle, we have Mumia Obsidian Ali of the Manosphere. We have quite a selection of people that have tuned into the program this morning. So thank you for everyone that has joined us. Also, if you've not already shared the space, share it also on YouTube when you guys inevitably see this video. Like, comment, and subscribe, and you can join our show tomorrow at 9 a.m. All you got to do is tap in. The link to download Clubhouse will be in the description. Let's tap in, people. But the point is this. One of the things that I think this young woman needs to understand, one, the LGBTQ community must change the definition of words in order to fit their narrative and to make their narrative make actual sense. One of the chief things that must be done is you have to change the definition of what is a woman. You have to change the definition of phobia. An irrational fear or aversion. First of all, Nicole, I said this. Am I ugly phobic because I don't want to date ugly women because I have a very appropriate fear of my kids coming out not looking half as good as they father? Does that make me ugly phobic in this new society? Because if it does, well, God damn it, I'll be ugly phobic like a son. Because here's the problem, and I'm laughing with that. I'm laughing a little bit of humor, but am I ugly phobic? Because I don't want my children to not possess genetic advantages that I, based on society, possess. And obviously that's a humorous point that I'm making. Don't take that seriously. But I'm let's be logical here. Does that make someone ugly phobic if they don't want to date someone that they deem? Mumia, do not interrupt me in the middle of a monologue, please. Does that make someone ugly phobic because they don't want that? Seriously. No, it doesn't, because phobia has a legitimate standardized definition. The fact of the matter is the LGBTQ community must change definitions. They must try to modify the laws, which is exactly why Dr. Jordan Peterson got in hot water when he said he rejected the codification of speech in law when the government of Canada attempted to coerce him, essentially, and all people in that country, to have to address someone by their preferred pronouns. He never said he wouldn't address his students by what they wanted to be addressed by. He simply rejected the codification of that in speech. That is the danger of the current society that we are living in. There is no such thing as transphobia, because I will never ever find a trans woman attractive. I will never, ever want to reproduce with a trans woman because you can't do it. If you are not born with eggs, you are not a real woman. If you are not born with a uterus and ovaries, you're not a real woman. You're not. A woman is a real thing. A man is a real thing. Sperm is a real thing. Estrogen is a real thing. Down to the biology, because there's one word this young woman missed. There's one word this young woman missed. There's one key word: biology. What the LGBT community loves to do nowadays, they love to say the biology is influenced by colonialism, it's influenced by the white man, this and that. No, it ain't. It's influenced by a couple things, but the first and most important is God Almighty. If you don't believe God exists, I'm sorry, but you already have a mental dysfunction right then and there. I'll say it right. I'll say it. I'll absolutely say it, and I'll stand on it. What has happened to our country to where no one has the ability to have a pair of balls and say what is and say what ain't? That is the greatest problem with this country that we're facing right now. And if someone does nothing, then our country will simply continue to fail over and over again. And then America will continue to be the laughingstock of the world in areas such as this. The bottom line is, and the real issue of it, is that no business owner has to give you service. A business owner has the right to discriminate based upon any factor. Right? If you go to McDonald's, for example, there's a sign on McDonald's, there's a sign on Steak and Shake, there's a sign on Chick-fil-A. No shirt, no shoes, no service. That's discriminatory. It's discriminating you based upon some qualifying factor. But when you're a privately owned business, you have the right to do what you want to do. Bottom line, if that offends you, guess what? Who cares? I'm going to quote Peter Griffin here. Well, sure, while I may not agree with what you say, I'll defend to the death your right to say it. That's the bottom line. And I guess if a man doesn't want to date a woman as big as a linebacker, I guess he's fat phobic, Nicole. And I'm going to quote Quagmire on this. Fat chicks need love too, but they got to pay. Bottom line, people, whether you like it or not, we all have preferences. Dating is the ultimate game of natural selection, where you are the natural selector. And if someone doesn't meet your standards, them. Send them off. Because dating is the thing that you select. You have absolutely every right to decide who you sleep with, who you procreate with, but you don't have the right to force down my throat that I have to acknowledge somebody's fantasy as a fact. That is what you don't have the right to do. Oh, that was good. Y'all should have clapped for that. Oh, Doc, preach. I better preach. I'm going on that. That was my monologue, Nicole. I hope I've now brought you and everyone else up to speed. Welcome to Austin Off Script, ladies and gentlemen. You are in the house of real today. I probably will get banned from Clubhouse today for about a week, but this will go on YouTube. This whole conversation is going on YouTube because I got the camera. Nicole, let's cook. Nicole Michelle, Mike is yours. One of the best friends I've made on the app. Family at this point, if you would. Nicole, what do you got for us on the topic now that you've been brought up to speed? If you're there.
Well, good morning. I see you chose violence this morning. Okay.
Always.
I commend you because you actually stand on your square, and more Christian traditional people need to do so. This is the law I talked about, HR 8404. This is it. And I told you all a few weeks ago to go email your your representatives and your senators about this one. And pretty much as a business owner, it's crappy. But I tell you what, if a gay person comes to me, I already told you I represent traditional values and Christian values. So if you want to give me thousands of dollars, hey, I'll take it. But I'm not adjusting my content for you. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I'm gonna go kicking and screaming. You can't force people to believe what you believe. You just can't. Isn't that what they tell Christians all the time? You're forcing this down my throat. I think it's actually turned the other way now. And so if that's going to be the case, I'm going to go kicking and screaming. I'm going to still talk about men and women together. I'm still going to talk about Christ as the head of the family. And if you want to give me thousands of dollars to help you, good luck. I'm not adjusting anything. Anything. And I think what this means, and then I'll go back on mute. What this means is people want what they want, and then they want to define what's too far for somebody else. So, like, for example, Momia said, well, I want to marry 3 different women. Who are you to tell me I can't? So now that you have gay marriage and now that you have interracial marriage, now you get to turn around and tell me what I can't have? Is that fair? You know what I mean? And so then when you put it like that, and then when you say the business is public, well, then it's kind of weird there because you've let all these other things through the door. The Pandora's boxes are open. And in Christian conservative circles, we're talking about Well, it's just a matter of time before they get to our kids. It's just a matter of time before they say you can marry goats. It's just a matter of time before they say you can marry a child. You can marry your sister. I mean, they're already marrying themselves. So what's next? So all I'm saying is people's tolerance is only for what they want, but they are intolerable of other people. So
Amen. I agree with that 100%. And that is the inevitable crux of the issue that we're facing as a black community, as a community of people, period. Because Christianity is not unique to one particular race. Once you open the door to one thing, everything else will naturally follow. And I think that is the greatest problem that I have seen, is that people don't want to acknowledge polygamy is not natural nor logical. Bestiality is not natural nor logical. Pedophilia is neither natural nor logical. And that is one of the things, but we try to. Dr. King gave us a speech several years ago called "Why Jesus Called a Man a Fool," and he said one of the things that made the rich man in Jesus' parable in the Gospel of Luke, a fool was that he maximized the minimum and minimized the maximum. I think what we've done in this world is we have slowly, and we are slowly, turned the good into evil and the evil into good. We've turned the just into the unjust and the unjust into the just. We've turned the wrong into the right and
you know
the
what?
yeah.
You know what, Austin, I feel like if they want to call me phobia, they can call me what they want to call me. I don't
Yeah.
care. I'm standing on my principles, whether you like me or not, whether you try to get me banned or not, whether you give me you talk crap or whatever. The Bible already predicted that they were going to persecute Christians. That day is fastly approaching. So I'm not at all surprised that this is happening. What do you call phobic? What kind of phobic is that when you are afraid your children will be targeted?
Right.
Like Balenciaga. Is that a phobia too? Is
Right.
that okay?
Right.
Is
What
that is
I
that a
don't
wrong
hear
phobia to have? Like where does it stop?
I never hear I never hear and YouTube, don't demonetize me for this. I'm nothing I'm saying is not backed by facts and data and statistics. I have not heard anyone from the LGBTQ community say anything about Balenciaga. I haven't. I'm not saying that just because I have not heard it does not mean it has not been said. But I have not yet heard anyone from the LGBTQ community comment on Balenciaga sending
Neither have I.
a message to our kids. I've not
You
seen it.
do know that 50% of the fashion industry is LGBTQ, right? And also the
You
person
said
that
what percent?
more than 50 actually
No, I
percent.
believe that. I believe that
Okay,
100%.
let me just answer your question because one of the things I like about you is that you always proceed with "I don't know" when you don't know. But a lot of LGBTQ people have said a lot about it. A lot of for some reason, Nicole thinks that because she's straight and she's a Christian, that
Oh,
we
please
don't
don't tell me what I think. Please don't tell me. Don't do that because you
we don't
hate that.
sometimes
You
have.
no. Pause. You hate that when it's done to you. So don't do that to
I
me, ma'am.
don't hate
Because I
anything.
will
So
boil
my
you this morning.
apologies, Your Royal
Don't do
Highness.
that.
Okay,
Don't do
let me
that.
not
Don't do
address
that.
Nicole.
Don't do
But
that.
people, Christians, a lot of Christians believe that because they have this thing, this pathway to God, their pathway to God, that nobody else that's LGBTQ agrees with anything that they're saying.
Okay.
And that's the sad part because Dr. Julio, I'm a 58-year-old woman that has been gay all her life, right?
Mm-hmm.
I am a 58-year-old woman that woke up one morning and I'm now called a cis woman. I'm a 58-year-old woman that nobody at. I mean, there are many of us out there that are LGBTQ that are screaming and fighting
Mm.
for almost the same thing you guys are fighting for.
Yes.
You understand? So it's not Balenciaga. What happened is deeper than most people know, and you all know that, especially people that like to investigate. A lot of them we are being used. You keep saying LGBTQIA community. Any lesbian woman like me that was asked on this platform,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you remember this, Dr. Julio. One of your favorite trans people did a room, and I walked in there, and they asked me if you were not married, would you date
Oh,
a
I think it
trans
was
person?
Nile
And I
that asked
said
you that
no.
question. I think
And I was dragged on this platform
I
for
do
weeks.
remember that.
They
Yes,
came
I
to
remember
my
that.
Facebook page. They everywhere they shut my rooms down for months that I took almost time off. We're all going through it. Thing is, if we don't come together as a people, I love my wife to death. We are by ourselves doing our thing, trying to change a little bit of the world. We're not fighting anybody. I love God. My life is a testimony of the grace of God. But I cannot call myself even though I'm a minister, I choose not to call myself a Christian. right? Because the label, I cannot continue to, I don't even, my relationship with God is very so personal now that I just go forward and focus.
Well,
A lot of these
here's
things don't make sense. We need to figure out why is this happening.
well here's
I
here's
thought
the
we were serving the same God.
here's the
But
key.
go ahead.
Here's the key. The reason that people will offer that pushback is Jesus said, who is God Almighty incarnate in human flesh. For proof of that, see Revelation 1:8, John 8:58, Exodus 3:14, Isaiah 9:6, Genesis, what is it? Genesis 3? Is it Genesis 3 where he's called the seed of the woman? I mean, there's several verses of that, but anyway. Jesus said, if you love me, you will keep my commandments. So the only way that how you will show the proof that you love God is that once you are saved, from the moment you are saved, there is an incremental. You could be the most low-life, drug-dealing piece of on the face of this planet. But once you're saved, if your faith in God is genuine, you will see some incremental improvement, because that then is it says he begins a new work. He is changing you internally. He's begun a new work in you. That's what the Bible says. And so that is one of the things that you look for. So don't tell me, and I would say this to anybody, Moj. I wouldn't just say this to you. Don't tell me you love God if you first cannot identify him by name, and if you do not keep his commandments, right? So now to expand that, the reason
your
that
God
people...
is not the same God that Mr. Robert or Munia is serving because he's a Muslim. So if you're saying that Munia, that's a Muslim, is going to hell, then that's on you.
Well, I'm not. Well, here's the thing. Wait a minute. You interrupted me. You interrupted me in the middle of my...
My name was mentioned.
You interrupted me in the middle of my... Mumia Obsidian is not a Muslim.
I am.
Oh, you are? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, okay. Well, I'm not saying anything about who's going to hell. For that, I would reference what Jesus said. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. So don't take it up with me. Take it up with the Nazarene who was killed 2,000 years ago and whose tomb is still empty. And
I'm not personally offended by it. But what I would say is, if we're going to talk about who is and who is not qualified to do anything, shouldn't y'all two be having a conversation about who should be able to, disseminate the word of God? Because my understanding of it, I'm not a Christian, but my understanding about that is that that's a man's job, not a woman's job. But I could be wrong.
The Apostle Paul said that a woman is not to usurp the teaching of a man, meaning when a man is talking in church, she should not overtalk him. But as it is written in the Bible also, for those of you that have read it, God says in the last days, I will pour out my spirit among all flesh, and even thy sons and daughters will prophesy. So again, I wouldn't go that far. Don't read the Bible out of context. Now back to my point that I'm making. God has a very specific name. Even in the Quran, which the Muslims follow, it is written in chapter 4, verse 156. They did not kill Jesus. They did not crucify Jesus. That presents a very interesting problem, because in secular documents, in the 39 ancient sources that we have about Jesus that are outside of the Word of God, I'm going to say that again. The 39 ancient sources outside of the Bible that bear no sympathy to Christianity all confirm the crucifixion. So Muslims got that part wrong. And Muhammad was born 500 years after Jesus was killed and his tomb was emptied. So I don't really...
Didn't the four Gospels deliver their reports of Jesus, several centuries later?
No. The Gospel of Mark was written in AD 52, the last book.
Okay, so that was 52 years after he was killed, after Jesus was killed.
Yes.
That's
Well,
why
no.
the Gospels
It was written in AD 52. Jesus was killed in AD 30. 80, 30 to 33.
22 years after he was killed.
Yes, and in historical antiquity, it is well accepted that for a biography or a historical account to be accurate, it should fall within 100 years of a person's life. We know this, and we've done this.
Well, I mean, since we're on the topic, the Hadiths, which is not a divine revelation, these are reports of what the Prophet Muhammad did during his lifetime. They are on the basis of people who actually witnessed what he did.
Okay. And the Gospel of Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John are all based upon eyewitness accounts, with Mark as the oldest and genuinely reported to be the most reliable account. And Mark was a excuse me, not Mark.
No, I'm just saying. What I'm saying is that those accounts weren't written after the fact. Wait a minute. What I'm saying is those accounts were written based on people who were by people who actually witnessed what Muhammad did.
Okay, and I'm going to also tell
That's
you.
all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. The Gospels were written by people that actually was
Okay.
right there watching what Jesus did, and I can actually go to the Gospel.
Okay. I mean, you said
Well,
Mark. You said
so
Matthew, right?
Mumia, you ain't
said
gonna
Matthew. You said
Mumia.
Matthew
Over talking me is not gonna say
22,
is not
I'm
Mumia.
not over talking.
Over talking me is not going to save
Not
you
over
from
talking.
this verbal ass whooping you about to get.
I'm not. No, you're not. You can't.
Oh
Yeah.
bullshit.
You can't do that.
Oh
But what we
bullshit.
can do, but what we can do is we can find out exactly where we differ. That's all I'm saying.
Oh no, I can tell you where we differ.
See from where I'm from, no woman is in a position to tell me anything about the dean.
Okay,
Period.
from where I'm from,
she is in no position to talk about the dean in or out of the mosque.
and from where I'm from,
Period.
that doesn't matter.
So what I'm saying is, I'm trying to find out. Well, how is it that this lady, who is a lesbian, is a minister? I mean, hey, maybe that's a Christian thing.
I'm not. That ain't what we're talking about. I'm talking about. I'm talking about something of far severe more importance than what she's saying. And Moji does not speak for me. She does not speak for me. We don't serve the same God.
I certainly hope not.
She will never speak for me because we don't serve the same God. We don't. So and the bottom line is that, well, look who finally joined us. About time Letitia showed up.
Can I just ask a question real quick while we're on that topic?
As we're done.
And go well, Detective Real Talk. We're going back to the topic. What do you got for us, brother? How you feeling?
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to the topic. I'm an atheist. I don't really dabble in.
Oh, at least we got an atheist on stage. Good. I used to be one.
The God conversation.
I used to be one. At least we got one to get some balance up here.
Yeah.
Can I just ask a question, please?
No, Moji. Let someone else talk. We've dominated enough.
So look, with this new Supreme Court case that's coming down, I do find it problematic, right? Because we established in Masterpiece Cake Shop versus Colorado Civil Rights Commission that whenever it comes to like public accommodation law, that you can't control what the artist is doing, but they have to provide you with a service if they're running a business, right? Businesses, because it gets into like discrimination law. So like, you can't tell me, well, I won't serve you because you're black, right? So, but what you can do is say, well, I don't. Okay, let me rewind. So you can't. So I'm gonna go back to I'm gonna go to Masterpiece to Masterpiece Cake Shop. So Masterpiece Cake Shop said, I won't make you a gay cake. I'm sorry. Excuse me. I won't make you a cake for a homosexual wedding.
Okay.
What I will do is I will sell you other cakes. You can buy any other cake in the building. You can buy an already made wedding cake. But
really?
I will not make you the cake myself. Okay, that's fair. You get to retain your freedom of religion, and they get to retain their freedom of association, and they also get to buy from you. What you can't do is just tell them, if you're homosexual, I will not sell to you.
So he did. So you're, if I'm understanding you correctly, Detective, he actually gave them that choice then.
Yes.
So
correct.
he just said I'm not. He kind of. I know you're not religious, but he kind of did the Pontius Pilate thing. He washed his hands. He's like, this ain't on me, in a sense.
Right. And
okay.
I paid special attention to this case because I actually do highly support freedom of religion. I think it's very important. We also be careful where freedom of religion impacts our already established laws around civil rights, around discrimination, right? So the issue with this case is that this person is saying, I won't do anything for you because you're homosexuals. And that is where we have to draw the line and say, no, that's wrong.
Okay.
Right? That is wrong. You cannot discriminate against these people because of who they choose to lay down next to because of your religion.
Mm-hmm.
You actually don't have that right. You do lose certain rights when you choose to engage in business, when you choose to have certain jobs, when you choose to go into certain sectors of society, especially as far as work. So if the web designer had said, well, I will make them a website, I'm not going to co-sign it with X amount of branding, right? And this is the contract I laid out to them. I told them, I'll make you X website. Here's what some of the things I'm thinking are. If they refuse my services, then they refuse my services. But I offered the services.
Okay.
That's what should have happened. But instead, the person said, I won't do this because they're gay. And that's where we have to draw the line.
So that to me seems like the perfect balance because if he can just take basically you can take a generic cake that I've made, but you will not get my personalized expertise to make a custom cake. Now, here is another question that Miss Lady Cherie has asked. I hope I pronounced it right, Miss Cherie, and you definitely sent me the pronunciation, or that was somebody sent me the pronunciation. Um, she said the question is why go to a company or business that you know is opposed to your lifestyle? Is there some law? Is there some line that you would draw personally between the customer selecting the business and the business owner being inherently quote unquote discriminatory?
I mean, in a personal sense, yes. So like for example, like I ran into something because I married. I'm a black man. I married a white woman, and I went to a shop to actually have a wedding cake made, and the lady said, I don't make cakes for interracial couples." Now I could have threw a fit. I could have did all this stuff. Me, I left. I said, "Okay, whatever. I don't give a fuck." I went 5 miles down the block. I said, "Hey, can I get a cake?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure. You guys are dope. Whatever."
Okay.
The other part of this though is I understand legally what's happening because in this country, you should be able to walk into any establishment and have the option to be a patron, and no one should be refusing you based on color of skin, sexual orientation, right? Your religion. It's just like if a Christian walked into a Muslim bakery. I'm just throwing some stuff out there at this point,
Yes.
and the Muslim says you have to leave. You're Christian. It's like no, whoa, whoa, hold on. Well, hold on.
Mm-hmm.
No, they walked into this shop. They have the right to shop here. You don't have the right to refuse them. So what I'm saying is legally, we have to unnormalize a couple of things, and one of them seems to be a growing level of discrimination around who our qualified groups are. So you're right, lady. They could. I'm sorry. I'm not saying that to be rude. It's just ladies like the first thing of your name. So lady, you're right. Um, they should probably pick somewhere they understood was going to not be a conflict. But rather they did it on purpose, rather it wasn't done on purpose, and they discovered this later. I think legally the issue is now, well, do we have to put that onus on people? Like this person owns a business.
Now, you know what's very funny? Omar says something very interesting in the chat. He said the LGBTQ community goes straight to Christian businesses, but not Islamic, Jehovah's Witnesses, or Mormons. Now, I'm not saying that that has not happened, but I do believe that it is. I haven't heard any cases where that has been the case. I've never heard of a gay couple trying to go to a Muslim baker shop. I don't. Again, I also don't know many Muslim-owned bakeries. I don't
Yeah, I was
know
gonna
them.
say, I don't know.
Just because I don't know them doesn't mean they don't exist, right? It does not mean that they don't exist. I just have never seen it. So and the thing about it, and to Miss Nasia is she said, aren't Christians supposed to love everyone? I do want people to get out of this ideology though. Jesus was a legitimate historical figure. You do not have to worship him like I do. You don't have to, but no one rejects of his authenticity as a legitimate historical figure, the same as Martin Luther King, Mohandas K. Gandhi, or any other person alive, or even me. We all lived, right? One of these statements that has been accredited to Jesus, one of the most famous statements, and often I think the most overlooked. People have this ideology that Jesus came to bring love. He told everyone to love everyone. No, he didn't. He literally said, "I came not to bring peace. I am not come to send peace on earth. I came not to bring peace, but a sword. For I came to set at variance the mother against the father, the mother against the daughter, the father against the son. He that loveth mother or father more than me is not worthy of me. He that taketh up his cross, he that taketh not up his cross and followeth after me is not worthy of me." I am quoting his words directly, or the words that have been attributed to him, which I believe the Bible to be the word of God. So of course I'm going to say Jesus said this stuff. I mean, it's just that simple. Whether you agree that he's God or not, whether you agree he's deity or not, the fact that the man said this alone, you cannot miss that statement. He did not come to make everybody love each other. He literally said, it's either love me and do what I do to the best of your ability, or, well, something going to happen to you. And
But
so,
and oh, sorry,
go
sorry.
ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, I think there's one more problem, and I think that this is where a lot of, uh, a lot of people of the non-belief maybe have an issue, is that we seem to have a dangerous amount of religion bleeding into the state, right? As like the government structure is. We're not supposed to really have that, right?
Mhm.
People's rights are self-evident without it. It's supposed to be based. It's baked into the cake, no pun intended, right? Like, your religion cannot violate my rights. Your religion cannot restrict me. Your religion or your beliefs cannot influence your political decisions as a politician. Now, however you want to vote is fine, but you shouldn't and ought not make um, policies, laws, rulings, or decisions based in your religious beliefs. So this decision that they're weighing right now is actually more problematic because the Supreme Court has expressed explicit interest as individuals,
Mhm.
not as a collective, that they are looking to possibly start dialing back um, homosexual marriage. They're starting to look at maybe dialing back federal, because right now there's federal law around the outlawing of like sodomy and some other things. And so it becomes a question of, are we going to legislate from the bench, which is dangerous as a legal discussion in itself? Are we going to legislate from the bench as a Christian nation, or are we going to legislate from the bench as a constitutional nation? And
Well,
that's a conversation that gets to become dangerous within itself.
but see, here's the thing. Now, I agree with you. I agree. Very quickly, let me do this. There are 30 shares in here, 159 people. If y'all would do me a favor, everyone on stage, share the room. I will be checking. If you have not shared the room, you're just going to magically find yourself in the gulag. And that's your only warning, literally. But here's the thing. Other countries in the world, I'll be honest, real detective, or excuse me, detective real talk, they are heavily influenced by their religion. Um, you could argue.
This country was founded on Christianity, so
I was gonna say that
I'm just wondering where all this brand newness came from, and why, if you know it's a Christian business, do you go in there picking a fight?
yeah, that's kind of,
I
and
mean, I'm
that was
just
gonna be my
like I
immediate.
said, you want to come to me and spend thousands of dollars to work with me, you're more than welcome to do it, but I'm not changing one thing,
Yeah,
not one thing. The same stuff I give the other clients, you're gonna get, and if it doesn't fit, I don't want to email. I don't care. Because I've already told you it's a Christian ethos business. I already told you that. So if you know that, walking into why don't you go to a Muslim
and I
shop
guess
and
that's
bully
the.
them?
I
Why don't
guess.
you do that?
But
Just
but
admit it.
but
You
you
don't.
didn't.
You just want to bully Christians. Just go ahead and say that, and then we can deal
Well,
with
and I
it.
But
guess,
no.
And,
and
let, and
the point that I would make,
But
is
just
this.
be honest about it. You don't like
but
Christianity.
nobody's bullying Christians, right? We're saying you
It,
can't.
it
You have
tends to
all.
feel like that. It tends to feel like that when we're
I
the only businesses taking the
Well,
tax.
and I
and I
understand.
guess that's the larger point that I'm making is, again, I have not seen this done to Muslim businesses in the United States. And to someone in the chat said, Dr. Julio, you know, Muslim bakeries and stuff like that exist. Then where are the news stories of gay couples going into these institutions? Why does it not seem that we have heard news stories of Muslim bakers rejecting LGBTQIA members? Because I don't see them actually actively going into these stores. I
It
don't
might
actually see
happen,
them,
but we haven't seen the
and
stories.
that's
So
all I'm saying. Where is in other words, I'm pulling the Kevin Samuels card here. Where's the facts? Where's the data? Where's the statistics? We
it
have on our
seems like
dollar,
Christians are the
and in
only
this,
ones
in
required to bend. We're the only
well,
ones required to bend our faith. I'm not bending nothing.
Well,
Just
well,
like
the
you
on
don't
top
bend
of
Can I
nothing,
that,
I
answer?
don't
and
bend nothing.
the last thing I'll
Why do
say,
I have to bend?
no. The
Why don't
last
you
thing I'll
bend?
say is this: if we say that we are we want to be fully bound to the Constitution and all this, the thing about that is, in the Pledge of Allegiance, it says one nation under God. On the dollar bills, it says in God we trust. So God is heavily interwoven in the United States of America's setup. So you don't get to tell me that America doesn't have a very, very heavy religious foundation. The fact of the matter is, well, no, you want to change it. There was a point where the Ten Commandments were hung in courthouses all across this country. That was now removed. What is being done, and this is what people are going to fail. People don't want to. Captain Tazariak, I didn't even realize you were in the room. I'm sorry, leaving you down there, brother. What is being done in the world today, whether you want to acknowledge this or not, that 6,000-year-old book is being proven to be more right than wrong every day. Every single day. Because it was
So,
predicted that this was going to occur. Now, the fact of the matter is, whether or not you want to agree with me, the facts and the data and the statistics are
I
backing
don't.
my
I don't.
point.
But what you're trying to say is basically
But
we
the
don't
country
care
doesn't.
if you're hold on, we don't care if you're Christian or not. We honestly don't care. Just don't tell me how I'm supposed to worship, how I'm supposed to believe, how I'm supposed to run my business, how I'm supposed to marry. You don't get that right, just like you don't want me to infringe on your rights. And I'm going to get just as downright with you as you get with me. When you tell me about that white Jesus and all that, well, I'm going to turn around and I'm going to tell you about your lifestyle. Don't ask me for any money. Don't tell me to vote, pay for abortions. Don't tell me to do none of that. If I don't believe it, I don't want to do it. And so if you don't bend, I don't bend. That's
And
what it
But that's
is.
not. But that's not what's happening, though, right? They're establishing a line for all religion. What they're saying is, you're
Yeah,
right.
no, it's just
You're
Christianity though.
no, but
It's
it's
just
not, because
Christianity
the
though.
law's not written that. But the law,
Yeah,
respectfully, the
yeah,
law's not being
yeah. Okay,
written that way. So what they're doing is saying this. They're saying that you, as a business, have to offer some type of service.
I get
Now,
that. We
whether
get
or
that.
not, okay, man, but
That's
hold on.
actually legal.
But
That's that.
okay,
I actually
okay,
agree with that.
but
I don't know
but
if
the
you were
issue,
here when I
but
said
the
that.
issue, but the issue with this case is that this business refused all service based on their
Well, no,
sexual orientation.
that's not true.
That's what's wrong, and it is what's true.
Those
I
are,
mean,
she refusing. Are we talking about the website designer?
yeah, she did. She
Okay.
refused to service them
She,
because of
she,
one, she wasn't sure about getting into the marriage industry,
uh,
because and that was her other defense, which I agreed with. Her
okay.
other defense was, well, technically, I'm not a marriage website designer because she has issues with the accommodation laws in her state, which is a separate argument. But the other argument was apparently correspondence between her and the patrons that basically stated, I won't provide services for homosexual couples, essentially. And that's where the Supreme Court said, well, she can do that. That's where they're leaning at, which I'm saying is a dangerous ruling because this opens the door for more wide discriminatory practices.
Okay. Okay.
But I
So
also want to
she
point out,
was okay.
sorry, go ahead.
She was offering. She services gay people for other services. The problem is, she just will not service them for weddings.
right, which
This
is
is the
exactly what,
fight that
and people
they.
have to forget. That's what I mean. I read the article, so
Okay.
Letitia's correct in that regard.
So
It's yeah.
they picked the wrong fight with this. Cakes are easy.
Exactly.
Cakes are easy. Restaurants are easy because then you're discriminating. It seems as if you're discriminating against the people. But when you get into talking about services that explicitly will seem like they are in conflict with their beliefs as far as that union, because yes, cakes, I sell pastries, you can pick a different cake. The website designer, I could design you a website. I'm just not designing you a website for your wedding, right? When you get to services, because this concerns me as well, and this is why I'm like on the side of the web designer. I offer a service explicitly. Y'all come after me all you want. I offer a service explicitly for heterosexual couples.
Mhm.
There is no way around it because my business is based in relationships that lead to marriage. There is, and it is based in my Christian beliefs. In my profile, I have a scripture there. I also discriminate against women because I don't match make for women. I match make for men,
Mhm.
heterosexual men connecting them with heterosexual women. So this law then will affect businesses like mine that says no, you have to provide services. If someone who's gay comes to you, you
You have to
cannot
serve them.
deny them. I
Right.
have to serve them, which goes against my fundamental beliefs that marriage is between a man and a woman.
but it's
Like
not.
people think, oh, this is just about cakes and food and gay people being able to have freedom of association when it comes to public accommodation,
But
when it comes to
here's the
businesses
thing that
and things. But I don't
But that's
think
not.
people realize
but
how.
But that's not what she said, though. She said that her decade long held religious belief. She said that uh, her company 303s creates creative roughly a decade ago.
mhm.
Um, she says that her religious beliefs prevent her from creating any custom website for a same for a same sex
Where are
couple.
you reading this from?
CBS News.
Okay, so from what I read from NPR, which was published yesterday at 5 a.m., she stated that
I'll take NPR over CBS News. I trust them more. Go ahead.
yeah, okay. So what I read from NPR, that woman, the artist, said that she has actually made websites for same-sex couples in the past. She explicitly refused to make a marriage, a website dedicated to the marriage or the union of one of them. That's what she stated plainly. CBS blatantly has exhibited bias. I mean, I look at them like CNN. NPR has been fairly unbiased in the way that they deal with stuff. So, I mean, question: if she has not refused service, but for one specific instance, she's actually not discriminating. To be truthful, she's offering
if that's the case, then I would say that I actually have to support the same way I supported the baker. I have to support the web designer, because if she's offering other services, but because of her religion won't do a wedding, then I really can't.
And that's literally all she said. That's all the young lady said. I mean, were you here? I don't think, Detective, were you here when I read the original article, sir? Were you here?
I was here. And you know,
No, probably not.
I really think that's where we need to pinpoint, right? The point for me is that if somebody is saying to me as a lesbian woman, I don't do this because of my religion. It's the same way during COVID that they gave leverage to people and said, look, they gave them the right. If it's against your religious whatever, don't take it. It's not mandated.
Yes.
Why is this thing that's so simple? I keep asking, we need to ask why is this thing going on? Because at the end of the day, when my wife and I were trying to get married again and they said no, 4 people said no to their spaces.
Yes,
we
ma'am.
went and got someplace else. And I think that's the way life should be, because if it's my path, my grandfather was an Ifa worshiper. He didn't eat pork. You can't now force him to sell pork in his shop when it's against his religion. The same thing as my mother, who's an Alaja. So I think it's unfair to put a blanket over religion.
And I do want to
these preferences on other things.
I do want to call out Nessa in the chat. She's hilarious. She said, "We don't care who you have in your bed. Let's get some money." I'm with you on that one, 100%. Church, that one is that one you've earned a Rance Allen on that. No, you earned an Oregon, because that's the one. But the and y'all share the room. 196 people in here. Can I get 100 shares? For God's sakes, people, come on. We got 47. Give me 100 shares. But here's the thing. One of the problems that I think we have to understand is that, and I'm gonna shake the table. Nicole, do you want me to get banned from Clubhouse today, or you want me to keep my account for a week? Because I really don't. Because this whole room's going on.
I want you on. Go ahead and get banned, because I want you on YouTube anyway. So.
Oh well,
Go off.
So y'all do know. See, this is the thing about black people. This is what kills me with black folk. We love talking about how the white man sodomized us during slavery. Interesting. So we love talking about how the white man did this, did that, blah, blah, blah. We love how the white man did the blah. We love saying all that highfalutin shit about how the white man, they destroyed our black men. Matter of fact, you know what I'm gonna do? Nicole, I ain't gonna do it. I'm gonna let Denzel do it I'm gonna let Denzel do it from. No, I can't. I can't do it because YouTube will demonetize me for fair use. They'll demonetize that video. So I have to quote it myself. Take the meanest. Have a good one, Moji. See you later. Take the meanest, most restless. Strip him of his clothes in front of the remaining male, female, and nigga infants. Tar and feather him. Tie each of his legs to 2 horses facing opposite directions, set him on fire, and beat both horses until they tear him apart. Bullwhip and beat the remaining males within an inch of their life. Do not kill them, but put the fear of God in them, for they can be useful for future breeding. Anybody remember who Willie Lynch was? Anybody? No. Raise your hand. No. He was a vicious slave owner in the West Indies. You see, the slave masters in the colony of Virginia were having trouble controlling their slaves, so they sent for Mr. Lynch to teach them his methods. His methods were very simple, yet they were diabolical. Keep the slave physically strong, but psychologically weak and dependent upon the slave master. Keep the body, take the mind. He got that. I don't care about the Willie Lynch letter being fake. We don't care about that. The point is that the stuff that was taught in the Willie Lynch letter was actually done to black American slaves. So at one point, when the white man is sodomizing black brothers, now it's a crime. But now you want to say that is now natural and that now that is okay. That's fine to do. Does that make sense to y'all? Does that really make sense to you? I'm just trying to figure out exactly at what point will we maintain some consistency with our politic. That's all. Because the issue that I have with all of this crap and all of this stuff is, hey, this ain't right now, is it? Something about this is not adding up where one time, right? Because this is the thing. They had to get that from somewhere. Even if you look at the film, what was the film? Pulp Fiction with Bruce Willis, Ving Rhames, Samuel L. Jackson, John Travolta. Ain't there a scene in there where they assault Marcellus Wallace? And what did he say? I'm gonna call a couple of hard pipe-hitting niggas to basically, we're gonna have fun with this white boy for the rest of his short, miserable life because he was a rapist. What I'm saying to you is at some point our politic must maintain some form of consistency. Why are we not doing it? Why do we not have that? Why is it that the most exercise that we engage in, a lot of us, is either stretching the truth or jumping to conclusions, yet we fail to truly practice and comprehend critical thinking skills? The fact of the matter is that whether you want to acknowledge this or not, the conservative, the Christian lifestyle, the traditional lifestyle is under attack. That's why you went after men like Kevin Samuels. That's why you go after people like Melanie King. That's why you go after people like Nicole Michelle. That's why you go after people like Letitia Underwood. That's why you will inevitably come after somebody like me. Because we believe that core Christian conservative values are worth defending. And it's not a thought process. It's not a thought that we're getting attacked. This is exactly what is actually actively happening. If a website artist will and has no problem with actually making websites for gay people that don't have anything to do with their gayness, but simply refuse to make a website that advocates for their wedding, she has every absolute right to do that because that's her right. And I'm sorry, but the gay community is absolutely the biggest proponents. One thing I give them, they are the biggest proponents of freedom of expression. I'm all for that. For them, but not for us. The thing about Christians, if you're truly a Christian, you're not going to condemn because you're not supposed to condemn. God is going to condemn. Jesus, out of his own mouth, said, I came not to call the righteous, but the sinners to repentance. They that be whole need not the physician, they that are sick. Before you come to Jesus, you got to realize that you need help. Period, point blank in the story. And so one of the things that I'm trying to get across in this message, and one of the things I'm trying to get across in this conversation, is that people are failing to see what is really taking place here. I got a question. If you are a natural born woman, put a 1 in the chat room. If you were born biologically a female, put a 1 in the chat room. I'm not joking. If you were born a biological female, put a 1 in the chat room. I'm not kidding.
Crazy that we even have to say that now. Like you have to qualify
Yeah, that is crazy.
by woman now. That's crazy.
Now, for every woman, would you prefer for me to call you a woman or a birthing person? Put what you prefer. If you prefer for me to call you a woman, put woman. Or if you prefer birthing person, type. I want you to actually take the time to type that shit out. Now, how would you feel if I told you the Biden administration called you a birthing person in a document released in a memo from the White House a couple months ago? How would y'all feel about that? Because they called y'all that. All you women that can produce babies, that can carry on life, all you quote unquote divine feminine mother. They called y'all birthing persons.
And black women will still vote for him by the droves in 2024. Anyway.
I got another question. Nicole, you know what's funny? You said go ahead and get banned. I ain't done. Another one. How many of you know Ketanji Brown? How many know y'all? Yeah. Let me play this clip for y'all. How many of y'all would y'all believe me if I told you that a black woman couldn't define what a woman was? This clip I will play because this is a government thing. This is listen to this. Senator Blackburn is going to ask this woman to define what a woman is. Now, question, if you know, before I play the clip, again, ladies, y'all know how your brother gets down. If you know what a woman is, put a 1 in the chat room. If you know what a woman is, put a 1 in the chat room. Put a 1 in the chat room. If you can actually define what is a woman, if you can answer the famous Matt Walsh question, put a 1 in the chat.
Provide a definition for the word woman.
Can I provide a definition? No,
Yeah.
I can't.
You can't?
Not in
Okay.
this context.
So you
I'm not a
believe the
biologist.
meaning of the word woman is so unclear and controversial that you can't give me a definition?
Senator, in my work as a judge, what I do is I address disputes. If there's a dispute about a definition, people make arguments, and I look at the
All right.
law and I decide. So I'm not.
The fact that you can't give me a straight answer about something as fundamental as what a woman is underscores the dangers of the kind of progressive education that we are hearing about.
Now, I'm going to ask somebody, anybody on my stage, can some woman tell me what a woman is? I don't care who it is. First woman to come off mic. I don't give a damn. Can somebody tell me what a woman is?
My definition is a woman has ovaries.
Ooh. So it doesn't. So I noticed something. You didn't say she can have babies, but she does have what?
Ovaries.
Oh, that's a standard definition. Son of a.
An adult female.
Reproductive organs.
Well,
with being a woman.
I'm sorry.
Because the only problem with ovaries is you have some women who are born without. So they'll try to use that again. They'll say, well, some women are, there are some women who aren't born with all the reproductive equipment. So the simple answer is she's an adult female. You can't get around that because the definition of a female is one who has 2 X chromosomes. That's it.
That's a fact.
Well.
But then they'll try to get around that too.
Well.
That sounds to me.
The genetic splicing, right?
I'm sorry.
Y'all know that's been coming out with the genetic
Now,
splicing.
okay. Now, wait. Hold on. I was waiting on Tony King to say this in the chat because I knew somebody was going to say it. What about intersex? That is less than 1%. Do you idiots understand?
Yes,
Now, I'm not literally calling y'all idiots. I'm just speaking in general. Do you people understand that is literally a genetic abnormality?
That's
An
a birth
abnormality
defect.
means it is not normally occurring in a data series. What the is wrong with y'all? I cannot stand you. How the wait a minute, hold on, wait. Let me finish. How the do you people love using the small? You know what I love about people? See, this is the thing. People want to use the smallest percentages. 1.7% of the entire world's population. You use small percentages when it's so fucking convenient. I don't see y'all standing up for intersex people. Do you stand up for black people as hard as you stand up for intersex motherfuckers? Huh? Do you? Do you stand up for black people, which is 13% of the population? Do you stand up for the 13% of the people in this country that built this motherfucker as hard as you stand up for 1.7% of the world population? Cause what the I got a question. Put a 1 in the chat if you know somebody that's intersex, that was born that way. Put a 1 in my chat room. Because the thing about it is, put a 0 if you don't know not one person. Put a 1 if you know if you know an intersex person. If you don't know one in your life, if you never met it, because the problem is, this is the hypocrisy of the community. They want to stand together, but when you start telling the truth, when you start laying down the facts, when you start asking the tough questions, they want to run. They want to use numbers. When you start using biology, they want to say it's based on the white man's colonialism. But when the white man benefits them, when the white man's throwing money into their political candidate, when the white man is supporting their businesses, when the white man is giving them what they want, that you'll sign up for whatever doctrine they for. And I'm tired of it. And Tony King, do I know my friend's genitals? Why, yes, I absolutely do. I know that my brother is an actual natural born man. And I know that I say my brother, my God brother. I know my other brother is a natural born man. I know the love of my life, the woman I had a kid with. I know she's a woman. I know she's a woman because my wood was up in there. And you know how I know she's a woman? My son was born, and the boy looked just as good as his daddy, if not better, because he looked a little bit like his mother. So what? So shut that up. Shut up.
I can't believe like
Shut the
we're
up.
using 1%. Why don't they go 1% of black men are good? Like, is that acceptable? Is that acceptable if we said 1% of black men are good? Campaign for they would go 1%. Nicole, get out of here. Right?
1%. Hold on,
but in
Nicole.
this argument, 1% is
Nicole,
okay.
when the has one? Hey, I'm sorry. Wait a minute. When the has 1% ever really done anything in a data series? When the has 1% of anything made a motherfucking difference? This ain't basketball with 1 point. This ain't football with 1 point can make. This ain't football, basketball, hockey, soccer with 1 point can be the difference between a win or a loss. We talking about human beings.
Than we want to acknowledge. Maybe there's more black lesbians.
Like, do y'all really understand how stupid? Do y'all understand how stupid it sounds? It's giving privilege Tony King. Lady, how stupid do you sound? 1%. 1%. Do you really think that makes sense?
Oh, I'm in agreement with you. I'm just saying all the stupid versions.
No, not you, Lady Karis. I ain't talking to you, sweetie. I'm talking about Tony King down here in the chat talking shit. How the hell is it privileged when the data is all I'm quoting, you idiot? I'm quoting the data. The data says the majority of people are not born intersex on this country. The data says that the majority of people are born with a penis or a vagina. Have you not seen Kindergarten Cop? Boys have a penis, girls have a vagina. But you don't want to understand that shit, do you? You don't want to talk about that. That don't even make no damn sense, lady. Shut the hell up. Sound like some shit that you read some shit. So I tell you what, it ain't that the one, and I'm not saying the 1% don't matter. What I'm saying that y'all are not doing is analyzing. If it's that small, then that means something occurred that was wrong during the birth process. It don't mean they ain't human, baby. It don't mean that God don't love them. But that means something abnormal took place during their birth. I would know a little something about that being a twin. Twins are not a commonality, baby. We more common than intersex. I know that. We're more twins, because I'm a fraternal twin. We're more common than intersex. Somebody do me a favor, look that up for me real quick. What percent of the United States population is a twin? I'm just curious. During the birth, conception, whatever the hell. Y'all know what I mean. I should have said conception. Excuse me, I misspoke. During conception. Or during the development of the fetus at some point. That's all I'm saying. 3.2%. Wow, I'm very, very lucky then. 3.2% of the people in the United States are twins. So guess what? I'm in a very small percentage. I feel elite in a sense, if you will. But guess what? I'm still an abnormality. You know what that means? I ain't naturally occurring. I mean, hell, to be this fine, it must be an abnormality, because shit, have you seen me? But anyway, that's the point. That's all I'm getting at. Bottom line is, y'all got to stop this bullshit. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. At some point, y'all got to cut this bullshit out. And even less a fraternal, which means I'm actually in a much smaller classification of Negro. Now, this room has been going on about 2 hours and 45 minutes. Bringing up third trimester abortion. Lady, I ain't say nothing about third trimester abortions. All abortions to me is wrong. So that don't have nothing to do with me. I think all abortions is out of pocket. And I ain't resort to ad hominem. I'm just saying you sound crazy as I attacked your argument first. I attacked the stupidity of your thought process second, baby. Now, point is, as we continue, because I'm about to go hoop. I done got a headache. Nicole, I thought I was gonna last longer than this. Girl, this room been going on almost 3 hours. Oh God. Okay, so gonna close today's show with a song. Hold on. Wait a minute. We're going to close today's show with a very, very good song. Leanne, you forget, baby. I don't care what queer people do. Who you want to lay with is your business. I don't care. Just don't force it down my damn throat. That's all I ask of you. That's it. So it's been a great room, great discussion. I'm going to close today's show with one of my personal favorite songs. I played it to start the room, and I will play it to close the room. And then I will leave us with the benediction. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Also, be sure once I upload this video to YouTube, which I will do that before I go hoop, I'll pull this footage. You'll see me, you'll see my facial expressions. Yes, I was looking at people. I was looking at some of y'all while y'all was talking like you mother sound dumb as shit. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, I was. And we will continue this conversation tomorrow. And we're going to see what the Supreme Court rules on this. Although I do have faith in the American Supreme Court because it is now conservatively controlled. I do think that Comey Barrett and the other other justices, Heard Kavanaugh, it's now conservative controlled. I think that they'll handle this the right way. And this is a classic song. If you haven't heard this before, what the hell is wrong with you? YouTube cuts me out for monetization. I love y'all, but I'm trying to get my money. Love y'all, but I'm trying to get my money. Just saying. YouTube ain't finna demonetize me. All right, so, benediction. Go from this place with the love of God in your hearts, with the peace of the Lord Jesus Christ, who is the living God incarnate in human flesh. If you trust in him and trust in him in full, he'll put you above all the rest, and he will give you rest, and he'll give you peace that passes all understanding, and that is the only thing that you need to survive in this life. And go with the peace, protection, and blessing of the Holy Spirit. Ladies and gentlemen, go worship Jesus. Go get some therapy if you need it. Go love your friends, love your family, and go love on each other, man. Love yourselves. Love yourselves. This has been a great room, great discussion. Thank you all for joining me today in Austin Off Script. If you have not done so already, make sure you follow the green house at the top. That way you are notified when we do a room. If you think I'm shoving the Bible down your throat, Leanne, get the hell out of this room. There you go. Freedom of speech, freedom of choice, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a great episode of Austin Off Script, and we are going to go ahead and close the show out.
Thanks for holding it down with us today. Live inside of Austin Off Script. Tune in tomorrow for another lit edition. Make sure to follow us on all platforms and download the podcast.
Yes, if you're not doing so already, be sure to follow me on Instagram at Austin Off Script, on TikTok at Austin Julio Off Script, on YouTube at, guess what? You guessed it, Austin Off Script. Especially when I post this video, y'all, please, for the love of God, if I can get everybody in here to like that video, comment on it, that helps the algorithm, and it also inspires other people to grab some gusto and join us on Clubhouse. We're going to make Clubhouse great again, folks. We're going to do it through Austin Off Script, and it's going to be a hell of a show. And with that one, I will let you all go, and we are gone. Whoa, whoa.